For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewis since the Sandbox.
Since the Sandbox fans, we're back with episode 2 of Sophomore Slump or Success, Since the Sandbox Classic. We're reporting to you live from Naples, Florida, so enjoy the view, a little bit different from being inside on our studio. I have some guests with me watching the show today, so a little bit of a different experience for Since the Sandbox. Right after I finish this episode, about to head to the beach, so that's going to be awesome. Make sure you guys are staying tuned with the rest of the Since the Sandbox content. We have the biggest questions in the NFL draft, Sophomore Slump of Success, episode 1, and now we're about to jump in with Sophomore Slump of Success, episode 2. More to come with Since the Sandbox in the coming weeks. You know, we have Mock Draft 2 coming, and a lot of other episodes planned to record while we're down here in Naples, Florida. Before we get into the episode, guys, show some love for the new merch. Since the Sandbox is Boston's #1 sports podcast. You guys should know this right now, and that's why you guys have been leaving us 5-star reviews. We're about to jump in with Sophomore Slump of Success, episode 2, and I'm going to start this one off with the defensive side. And I think I got some hate from Patriots fans in the last episode because I was talking about Mac Jones in a way that they probably wouldn't have liked, but I'm going to talk about Christian Barmore, a pick that I also mentioned when I was talking about Mac Jones. And I actually think that Christian Barmore is going to be one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL for years to come. Was an absolute force coming out of Alabama, and I think he's going to do nothing but succeed. I think the Patriots are going to continue investing on the defensive side of the ball, as they continue to reshape their roster from the championship team that they had from years ago. But I absolutely think Christian Barmore is one of the best defensive players on that unit. I know they're investing a lot in their secondary. They got a lot of guys that they signed in free agency, but I think this is a guy that's going to be a New England Patriot for the next decade. And I know Patriots fans are probably excited to hear that, but Christian Barmore is going to show me nothing but success in the next couple of years. All right, my next guy, a little bit different. Amon-Ra St. Brown. And guys, we saw, Amon-Ra really, show up to the stage at the end of last year. The Lions ended up putting together a lot of good wins, a lot of quality games. But I really think that he's going to have, more of a down year this year. I think the Lions will probably invest in the wide receiver position, whether that's in the draft or free agency, whatever it may be. But I definitely think that there's going to be more depth at that position, and Jared Goff will probably build some more relationships. Not saying that Amon-Ra won't have success. Just think compared to last year, he might slump a little bit more. So, maybe around that 700-800 yard mark, I definitely think he's going to have less touchdowns, that's for sure. We'll see what happens, though. I'd love to see that Lions team continue to build and be someone, be a team that really fights for Dan Campbell like that. So that's really impressive when you have a unit of guys that'll really do anything for their coach. And I appreciate that with the Lions, but I also know that they need to continue to improve the rest of their roster. All right, my next guy. Guys, I'm getting burnt over here while I'm recording the podcast. Just want to let you know. I'm going to stick with the wide receiver position. I'm going to go to somebody in my NFC East, and that's Devonta Smith. Guys, Devonta Smith going into his second year. The Eagles moved right above the Giants to draft him. Got to love that. I feel like that's happened a couple of times with the Giants. But Devonta Smith, I definitely see him going to have a successful year too, and I just think, his relationship with Jalen Hurts is going to continue to improve, honestly. And I really see Devonta Smith being one of the top talents in the NFL, and I know the Eagles aren't really the most pass-heavy team, so he doesn't really get the opportunity to show that often, but I really think he has one of the best skill sets, one of the pure route runners in the NFL. I think, once the Eagles find ways to get him the ball differently, he's going to be, a guy that's north of 1,200 receiving yards every single year. We have 2 at the quarterback position, so make sure you guys are listening up for this because it's going to be really important. Going to start with the first overall pick last year, Trevor Lawrence. Guys, every year the Jaguars spend a crazy amount of money, and they think that that's really going to improve their team, and it really doesn't, honestly. They continue to struggle year after year, and I just think that, Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be tough to really find success with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the investment with Christian Kirk, but that's a lot of guaranteed money to give to a receiver of his stature. Evan Ingram hasn't really proven himself tremendously to this point with the New York Giants, so why should I believe differently with the Jacksonville Jaguars? But I do think that Trevor Lawrence is going to continue to struggle. I do think that Doug Peterson being his coach will probably be a positive thing for him, honestly. And, maybe in years to come, Jacksonville can develop into at least a 500 football team. But At this point, while the roster is still all over the place, I do see Trevor Lawrence still continuing to slump in year 2. With the quarterback position, once again, the second guy, Justin Fields. Ooh, am I thinking slump? Am I thinking success? What are we going to do? Justin Fields, even though I think the Bears will continue to have somewhat of a down year, I think we'll see more of the flashes from Justin Fields of being a successful quarterback. And I honestly think that Justin Fields has more of the skill set that's deemed or demanded in the NFL in 2022. But I also think he needs more talent around him. His offensive line was horrible. He did have a good running game, but it ended up getting banged up last year. And Allen Robinson was just kind of getting schemed out of that Bears offense. So I feel like it's really interesting to see the direction on all of that going. But I definitely think that Justin Fields is going to be a successful quarterback in the NFL for years to come. And, just once the Bears get things under control, I think he is definitely going to be someone that will be a name in the NFL for the next 10 years. All right, we have one more guy on the list. Javonte Williams coming from the Denver Broncos. Guys, Javonte Williams is about to blow up on the scene, all right? This is going to be the biggest success out of all the year 2 guys that I could have possibly mentioned. That's why I saved him for last. This is the best case scenario for Javonte Williams, right? And I did, similar with Javonte Williams as I did with Jonathan Taylor in a lot of my fantasy leagues. In his first year, I drafted him in like the 4th round because I knew that he was going to be my keeper. And now I just had Jonathan Taylor on a 1,900-yard season. And I'm going to expect, a little bit less from Javonte Williams. But if he can give me 1,500 yards next year from a 4th-round running back, that's absolutely going to be, detrimental to winning my fantasy league and things like that. So Javonte Williams, you can't get drafted into a better scenario getting Hall of Fame quarterback Russell Wilson, having the wide receivers that you do, having the defense that you do. Obviously I would like the Denver Broncos franchise to be a little bit more solidified. I know the team is going for a sale right now, but that doesn't really impact the players, too much. Javonte Williams, I honestly think could be the best player this year coming from last year's draft, the 2021 draft. So guys, let me know what you think of my sophomore slump of success, guys. We had a lot to do here, a lot of work, and we're still working for the NFL draft that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So make sure you guys let me know what you think. Reporting live from Naples, Florida. Go and check out our biggest questions in the NFL draft, sophomore success episodes 1 and 2. Leave a 5-star review and go and check out Meet the People series. We out of here. Show some love. Peace out.
For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewin's defense a Sandbox.